Well, hello there, folks. It's Joycelina, and I'm back here on the Just Vanilla server. And I'm still on the treetop where I left you last time. And I have to tell you, I've been thinking, oh, look, the sun's going down. It's becoming night on the server. Imagine, every time I come on, it's turning into night. And the bad guys come out, and they want to kill Joycelina, which is not very nice, which just means that I'm going to have to kill them in return. Anyway, so I have been distracted from playing Minecraft. Some due to like real life. Like I'm so busy, I cannot even tell you. My calendar is so full of stuff that I'm supposed to be at, and so I haven't had a lot of time to do the stuff I want to do, which is this: be right here with you and building up our city. But I've also been distracted by a little game called Life is Feudal, and I've only started playing it a little tiny bit. So one of the things I'm going to want you to do is in the comment section, if you are interested in me starting a series of doing Life is Feudal, let me know, because I'm all game for that. I love city builders, and so that is one I might be interested in trying out. Anyway, I have been watching Skystorm, and if you've ever heard of him, or you might have heard of him before, I don't know, go check him out. He is doing a series on Life is Feudal and the building that he's doing, but it's inspiring me in this world. And one of the things it's telling me is that Joycelina is thinking way too small. So one of the things that as I'm working today, and I think the thing I'm going to start on first is our basically our town square around the nether portal. So kind of finishing that up. So if you'll recall, what I had worked on was doing a 15 by 15 around that. And I'm going to check it out. I might keep it at that, but then build the fountain features from the corner. So like the corners will be the 15 by 15, and then on the end of each corner I might do some type of circular fountain or some type of fountain at each corner, depending on how it pans out. So now I've got to go down there so we can see what in the world I'm talking about. How do I get down to here safely? Okay, that's right, through here. Let me down. Down here, down again, in the mossy room. Well, that's not what I meant to do. Give that to me. So the thing is, some of why I laid this out was some of the other features nearby that I wanted to take into consideration. And so I wanted to take into consideration both the potential mine. So I don't want to come too much farther out, because you'll see it's not that far from the square is the mine. And then the other piece that is right at the edge of where I decided was where I wanted the wash to be. So I think this is going to have to move. Ultimately, that's a given. This is not a good place. We can terraform in a more appropriate place. So it's a great idea is to have a place where everyone comes and does their laundry, but not here and not this close to the city center. So we would want that to be somewhere closer to buildings, closer to the poorer part, which I guess these are our farms. It's not necessarily the poorer part of town, and maybe off in this direction somewhere will be kind of the poorer part of town where we have more wood-based buildings and stuff like that. So that's where you're going to find up having a laundry. The other thing that I was thinking, and I'm going to get close enough now that I'm going to draw the attention of that guy. Shall I just get him? Whoa. And 2 is enough. 2 is enough. Is that when I'm looking at the armor shop, I think it's okay to have the shops where I'm selling the armor in one place. But I think over here, where I talked about having the blacksmith shop, and we had originally, I think I put down a leather shop here or an armory. Well, I don't think the armory is going to be appropriate if we're going to have a shop over there that's actually selling the weapons and selling the tools or whatever. Or we have it all in one big area, but that it needs to be a big area where we're combining our blacksmith and our armory, and you buy your tools there. So again, I go back to then maybe this isn't the best place for that. Originally, I was thinking this would be a leatherworks near where the cows are, and that would be appropriate. But now that I'm thinking I want this to be a much bigger, grander, like complex of buildings that make up the blacksmith and armory area, I think over there is going to be more appropriate. So we'll move in that direction to go and do that. So it's just interesting. It's, watching a city builder and thinking, wow, I am not getting scale here. I'm not getting the right scale. I'm thinking much too small. Things are way too close. So it's kind of given me some thoughts of how I need to map things out. The second thing I need to take into consideration is that when we come into our city center here, into the town square, I want my shorter buildings up front and taller buildings in the back. I don't want to have a big, like 3-story building here and then you can't see farther into the city. So I need to keep that in mind as I'm building. And I think I've mentioned this before, so I'm doing all of this without actually going into creative and like pre-designing things. You'll find a lot of builders will go and they'll pre-design. So I'm not being very efficient, but I'm being efficient with my time because I ain't got time for that. Let me tell you. So one of the things with this city mining is I might be able to link up to this mine from maybe closer to over here. Here, let's put down some torchies. So maybe we'll get fewer spawns out here. But I might be able to have my mine building over here and then weave into this so that I can extend this city square out to at least 20, maybe even 25. So even 20 would be another 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be out to here, which is much grander. And then you can have fountains from here. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on some type of pattern, trying to integrate some of the colors and woods that we've seen in here, as well as the stone and various stones, because I really do like both the cobble and the brick. Trying to do some type of design. Might look into some of the terracotta and the cooked terracotta stones to see what might look nice as an accent, which means I need to go find wherever our city mesa or the server mesa is so I can figure out what colors and that such. So because we're using so much of the gray, I think the cyan, which we talked about, I made the cyan earlier, like in the very first couple of episodes. Excuse me. I'm trying to do a description of what it is I want to do here, and you guys are not helping. Where did you come from? Did you just spawn over there? Nice armor here. Yep. Spamming the wax. Whack. Whack. You didn't even leave me anything. Oh, no, I think I had those before. That was from the last time. They were much more generous. Anyway, where was I? These guys distract me. Drives me crazy. Yeah, I have no idea what I was saying before I got interrupted by those guys. But the sun's almost setting. Anyway, cyan. So I think maybe looking for some of the cyan baked, cooked terracotta, whatever it's called. The hardened, it used to be hardened clay. Why they had to change the names, I don't know. It confuses me. But anyway, I'm going to look into what I can do, and I'll come back to you once I've decided kind of the basic layout, and then any other thing that I think, if I find something that starts to be interesting and I want to describe it to you, I don't want to just like do everything and then come back and then we have a 15-minute video while I showed you what I decided to do. So I'll come back sometime in the middle of working this all out, and I will see you in a little bit. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've squared off the place for the town center, and kind of added the circular area. So if you can imagine that being a waterfall, maybe even something a little bit more ornate, but that this would be the approximate size of the area. And it seems like it's okay, but I'm wondering if I need to go through and just do a what if. So what if I made this 5 bigger, which really would take me out to, like this was the corner, so it would take me out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if it was really out to, let's say this point, and let's do this over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be out this way. So what would that look like if we came up here? Well, see how much bigger that would be? That would be much bigger. I think I'm going to go with my original assessment that this is probably a good size for the town center because there's not going to be a whole lot of decorating. So I might do some type of pattern in the midst of these quadrants, but not extend too much farther out. So it may give me some flexibility on making these little fountain areas bigger, but I think this is about the right size. So this might come out 1 square larger. So rather than five blocks in diameter, it might be 7 blocks in diameter, just to make it a little bit more proportionate to the rest of the square. Boy, I'm getting such jitters just trying to move my cursor, so I'll try not to do that much more. Okay, so that was kind of what I needed to take a look at and determine whether or not this was going to be a big enough area. And I think that the size of it's right. The fountains might be a little bit larger, but it's really going to be dependent on the pattern that we do in the middle here. Because once you get that in, it can kind of shrink. And the other thing is, clearly, you can tell I've overspammed the number of torches. I mean, clearly I don't need this many torches. But I do also need to think about lighting, whether the lighting is embedded in the ground or we have lamp posts as well. So I think I'm going to want a hint of both in the area. And so once you start putting in those decorative touches, I don't know if this is going to be big enough. Maybe extending it even maybe 2 blocks out each way. Doing a compromise, because the 5 blocks in each direction seems like it's just a little too big, but I think maybe 2 more blocks out in each direction might give me the right size, because I do need to think about, once this gets decorated, once we add maybe some sitting areas in the town square and maybe some decorative areas, and so we might have the fountain here, but we might want to have some type of garden and flowery area here, or a tree. So how we decorate this, now that I'm thinking about it with you, I think maybe larger is the right way to go, because we're going to want to add those decorations and we're going to want room for it. So if I was doing simply just a layout of the flooring of the pavement and having that be all of my decorations, this would be a good size. But I think if we're going to add any type of trees or any type of plants or any type of furniture or the special tall lighting, I think I'm going to want this a little bit bigger. So let me go ahead and work on that and work on finding a place for a mesa and coming up with some of the hardened clay that I need to get this accomplished, the terracotta. I will come back to you after that. Okay, well, so I've been formulating some ideas around what I can be doing here. And at first, I had put in my border. So I think this was the original border. And then we decided that that wasn't far enough, so I added this second one. And I put in the waterfalls. And now I am thinking what I wanted to do was put grass in between. So, because I kind of like the lines. And, you do something, you're like, oh, that looks interesting. So having a space between these two looked interesting. So I put in some dirt with the idea that I would eventually put some leaves on top so that we would have an area that was lined. Maybe not the whole thing, because obviously I'm going to need an entranceway. But it gives just a really nice look to have some leaves here. And, I don't have my shears with me. I can't take those out. So I did that, and then I realized, this line is on the center, and I'm going to want my leaves. Whoops, where'd I go? I'm going to want my leaves to be on this center area. So I'm having to kind of move this around. So this one I completed. And then I extended, because this is going to be paved in here. I did cooked some terracotta, so I went to the mesa, the public mesa, got some light gray terracotta, and I've cooked it. So my idea is to create some type of pattern in the middle of each of the quadrants, just for some detail. But for the rest of it, it's going to be paved. I might add some stairs or some half slabs that go down a level, maybe in a certain place, kind of surrounding what I do with the terracotta. But this was kind of the idea here. So I've got this center area, and then I started changing up some of the stone in here so that we're going to combine some of the mossy stone brick, the cracked stone brick, and then the stone brick. So I've got some more cooking up to do. I really have to wait for the grass to grow on the dirt, and I have to redo all of these quickly, so I have some time to get the grass to do what I want it to do, and then we'll be able to start looking at how we want to do these middle areas. I do like how the fountains turned out. They're pretty simple. In here, you might not be able to tell, but I did put some of the mossy the mossy stone brick towards here, because the idea is that it would be wet, fairly wet a lot of the time, so it might get a little mossy. And then I wanted to have a nice, the polished andesite up at the top. So those all look very similar. And I think when I look at it from this aspect, I think this is the right size. If I did something too grand, everything would start to have proportion issues. And I want the proportions to be fairly average when you're coming up to something, that we keep the proportions for a player to really sit through. Because you'll see a lot of really grand builds. One, I've never done grand builds, so that would be extending myself farther than I've done in building. But also, it's when you're the player walking through, it just almost seems too big to scale for the size of the player. So this is a world, this is going to be a city that we're always walking through. So I want things to be more in scale with the size of my player. So with that, I think for now we'll get finished up. All finished up moving stuff, and once I come up with some type of pattern, I'll bring you back and let you see what it is we're coming up with as far as some of the details. So we'll see you in a bit. Okay, I've done a little bit of work here trying to come up with what the pathway would be as we're coming out of the nether tunnel. So this was one idea I had that incorporates the cobblestone, because there is cobblestone highlighted within the portal. And by the way, it looks like one of the ideas I thought I had was to put in a flower bed. So then once this is all, it's going to be mostly grass, we'll put in whoops, I don't want one there. We'll put in a small ridge around the flower beds, and so I have one on each side. But my other option, so this was block placement. Geez, let's try that again. So this was one idea I had that incorporated stairs, and it came down. The other idea, my initial idea was it was flat. And I think I do not like this. There's just not enough detail in it. But I may take a look at the width of that, because I think I like the wider path. One of the things that we have to keep in mind is whatever we incorporate for our main path is going to continue on in some of the directions here. So we're going to want that to be kind of throughout the system, at least 3 blocks wide. So that's why I'm thinking I keep doing that. Sorry, I keep hitting the wrong button on my pathway. I think that's why I like this. It's 3 blocks because you have stairs on each side, but the width is actually only 2. So it goes back to that proportions that I was talking about before. So one of the things I'll look at is whether or not I put 3 blocks of the stone brick and then cobblestone stairs, if that makes a difference. But I think I'm probably going to stick with this narrower. Well, I don't know. Now that I'm looking at my portal, yeah, I think I'm going to want 3 wide and then the cobblestone stairs will be on these rows, and then we'll have the slabs, the half slabs after that. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'm also trying to get my grass to get all the way through. Oh, look, this one did it. So that we can replace these and put in, let me see, I had the mossy. Where is the mossy? I had mossy there. So we can put in all of our oak leaves. I may extend them out farther, but I'm not sure. Definitely like having them there and having just this be more of an entrance so you know where you're going to come in and come out. I may also put a tree in each of the areas. I don't know about that. Or I might put a tree in each of the flower beds. That might be more likely. Putting a tree in there and then putting some flowers. So I'm waiting for it to fill in with grass so that I can put in my stone bricks as the rim around them. But so what I'll do is I'll check out if I want to make this wider and come back to you in a little bit. I might do some more of the design inside of here and then come back to you. Well, I think we've got it all done. Pretty excited about what we have here. So let me give you a tour of the work that we did. Whoops. I always hit the button twice instead of one time. So using the light gray cooked terracotta, you can see the pattern. It's actually pretty fun. Oh, look. A zombie is going to be coming over here. Let me see. Let's try to head him off at the pass. They get stuck sometimes. There you go. Well, hey, that wasn't supposed to work that way. There you go. Yeah, they keep trying to get at stuff. Get at my little village idiot over there. So anyway, the terracotta, it takes a lot of time to place it just right. So trying to get the pattern the way I wanted it, where I really felt it was important to make sure that the corners of whatever design matched up when the corners met. So trying to get a nice design was a little challenging. But really, it's more the place a block, oop, it's wrong. Turn a little, place a block, oop, it's still wrong. Turn a little, place a block, oh yay, that's the right way. And since I'm doing it on different corners, it would be different for every single one. Because here, I need I'd have to go over and say, okay, I want the circle facing out. Because this direction is different than the direction it is when it's on this one. So that was a little fun trying to figure out all of that. But I really liked the design. So I wanted to have it, I think we talked last time or earlier about making this wider. So on the other side, I had it just one brick, the stone brick here, and then the cobblestone stairs. But really, it needed this width. So we did that. And, incoming. All dressed up. No place to go. Except for to the underworld. Death to you. Thank you. So that was one thing. I have the carpet there. Whoops. I don't have a place for carpet. Are you kidding me? You guys aren't going to leave me alone, are you? I'm trying to do a video here. So, yeah, so the carpet in some of the places on the bricks is to cover up because I had to put, well, I guess I could get in the water. This is annoying. Well, and just as when I jump in and then I go out. Anyway, so the carpet here is hiding that I've got some glowstone there. I also have some glowstone covered with green glass and then a bush there, which I also did the same thing over here, trying to just light it up without having torches all over the place. So that was one of my methods. And then these awesome torches here, because I was trying to do different types of lampposts and trying to use glowstone, and it just didn't look right. I needed I didn't want to do the wooden trapdoors, because they don't have different colors. They just have the oak trapdoors, and it just didn't look right. And I tried some other things, And I really liked having the gray, but having the different stones. And then that incorporates kind of the cobblestone and the stone brick. And then I'm using the polished andesite here. So then we've got the netherrack on top with the flames. And since this is all stone, nothing's going to burn up. There's no wood anywhere near it. So that was an easy fix to be able to just use the flames. And it looks so cool. I'll have to take you up and show you. So this is the town square. What do you think? I'm really pleased with how it turned out. A good way of coming back and forth trying to pick things up here. Zombies littering all over the place. Okay, well, their dead flesh will just have to lie on the ground till it disappears. But I thought, okay, maybe we'll run over here and get one last look at what it looks like when you see it from a distance, because it really looks fantastic. And I'm really pleased because it really just, can I say really anymore? Let me say really one more time, really. But I do think that it is going to set the stage for both the sizing, so the proportions of the remainder of the city, and somewhat of the build. So even from a distance, you can see the torches, you can see some pattern in the clay, and it just gives it some interest. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. Now that it's not night, I'd love you to see it at night. But really, just overall, it turned out, I think, even better than I expected. So with that, I think we are going to head out, and oh, look how cool. How cool is that? So we're going to head out. I'll go ahead and upload this. I am sorry that my videos have been like a week and a half apart. Life has been crazy. I've got so much stuff going on that I'm like only playing a couple of hours a week. So hopefully I will be able to get back to things soon and we can work on something else. I think next time I might start on the blacksmith area, because that is something I need to cook all the fish that I'm catching. So we'll see, but that's kind of my plan. The other thing is Sticky told me he had to tear down the spider spawner that I created for him. So sad. But that's what happens when you build something. Like, we may decide that this fish farm doesn't fit where it is and I need to build something else. Then you just kind of that has to happen. You have to tear stuff down, put it someplace else. So he found a place where he's got 3 spawners really near each other. So eventually I'm supposed to head on over there. So that might end up being a little snippet. I won't make you sit through another spider spawner / skeleton spawner creator. But so the next time I'm on, I'm going to try to help Sticky out over there and take a look at his spawners. So we'll see what happens. But I will see you next time. And I will talk to you later. Bye.